You didn't think I was going to leave you hanging, did you? Let's keep working on this tune, Sir Duke. And this time I'm going to show you some of the melody, how I play the melody, let you work on that a little bit, and then also talk about some of the improvisation we can do on it. Again, it's such a great tune, and there's so much you can get out of it. If you haven't already, though, make sure you start on the number 1 and number 2 in this 3-part series. So let's look at the melody on the A section, on the verse, okay? Oh, I messed up. Whenever I start it, I always think I'm starting the bridge. So it sounds like this. That is kind of tricky, right? Because there's a lot of ornamentation. Now, this is the easy version. Even I can't stop from doing the extra stuff. I think that those little, they're not slides, they're kind of hammer-ons. That's a slide, although I could do it as a hammer-on. And there I'm doing both of those, right? This, I think, is important to be short. Short and then long. So there's a lot in that. We'll just play it a couple times. Let's do it again. 3 and... Do it again. So you can rewind that and try to copy it if you want and try to play along with me, all right? Now, though, let's look at the improvisation over this section. So this is a great exercise in dealing with modulation, because when you hear it, you just want to think that you can just play C major or C major pentatonic over the entire thing. But there's that one chord, which is the A flat 7 chord, that is a modulation for a second. And during that moment, it's really easy to play wrong notes. So what you want to do is think about that A flat 7 chord, which is basically, it seems like it would be a 5 in D flat, right? Which you could treat it that way. You could treat it that way. But the thing is, then we have a D flat, which is a lot farther away from the key signature of C. So I think it makes sense to play a D natural in what would otherwise be a D flat major scale. So now people call that a Lydian dominant, but you don't really need to know that. It's just, what are you playing over the dominant chord? What are you playing over the 5 chord? Usually you would play the same scale over the 5 chord that you would apply to the 1 chord. So A flat is the 5 of D flat. So you would just think of playing a D flat major scale, but starting on A flat. And that's a simplification. But in the Lydian dominant, we raise the 4th degree. And that's how you get to it. Now, I don't recommend that you practice the Lydian dominant because it's a mode of something. It's actually the 5th mode of E flat melodic minor. And so, just like with pentatonic scales, just like with any scales, I would rather you not memorize 7 modes of the scale in terms of the different relationships of each of those modes. You know, I'd rather you just learn 1 and start from there. So for me, when I see A flat dominant 7, and if I want to use Lydian dominant, I'm going to start from E flat, and because I know that I know E flat melodic minor. I've spent a lot of time working on melodic minor. There's different ways to do this, but that's how I personally would do it. All right, but an easier workaround would just, I mean, for some people, would just be to use Mixolydian on A flat. which you can totally do. All right, so sorry, that's a lot of theory, but Graham, you asked for this lesson, so this is what it takes to learn this pop tune. Everybody thinks pop music is easy, but it's not. You can become such a great musician by working on pop music, and especially by the genius Stevie Wonder, obviously. So I'm going to show you how this looks in an improvisation, all right, just to break it down. So we're in C major, or C major pentatonic. Now we go to E flat. Back to C, right. I'm not playing that musically right now, but you can see that just on that A flat chord, you've got to modulate. Now, if you can't wrap your head around modulating, then just think about a few key notes to hit or key notes to stay away from. You want to stay away from E natural. What else do you want to? You want to stay away from G natural. So even if you just played stuff out of C, but staying away from E natural and G, that could work. So all I did was just keep it really simple on that A flat chord. You can even just let it pass. That's totally fine. When you hear a chord and you're not sure how to deal with that chord, or it feels hard to you or difficult to you, just let it pass. That's a great strategy anytime. All right. So I'm going to give you the backing track here, just a few passes of it so that you've got it. And then if you want to rewind later, you can come back to it. Then I'm going to teach you the melody, all right? So I'm just going to let this roll a few times so you have something to work on just on this A section. And this is a slightly slower tempo than the original. So this is for you to practice on. Let it roll about 4 or 5 times. But then I'm going to keep teaching, so stick around. 2, ready, here's your backing. So you can go back and rewind that if you want to use that as a backing track, or maybe I'll give you another video with just backing. We'll see. One way to get that for sure is if you're not already a member of my private studio, just join the private studio. You get all the backing tracks, or you can pay whatever you want just to get the backing tracks. So let's go on and let's learn this next section, which is a little different, right? I'm just going to learn the melody first, and then we'll learn the improvisation on that. So this is the melody. Going on. All right, so I'll teach you that. The first phrase. Or I'll do it here. You can try play it first. And I'll do it up here in third position in case you like that. I'm throwing in a lot of the extras, or trying to throw in the extras that I hear from Stevie, right? Because it could just be simple like this. You could do that. But I'm trying to throw those extra things in. I'll let you hear that extra version again. You can try that if you want. The next part. Try that. I'll do it again. I don't know. I don't remember exactly everything he did. And then the last time he does. That's pretty much it. Now, I'm going to talk about the improvisation on this section. Honestly, on this chromatic part, I don't know that you could do much more than just play the melody, so I'll probably just do that every time. But then when we get to the other part, we'll talk about that. So here's the from the F walk down. All right, 2, 3, 4. Now here we're in C major, but then we modulate on there. Then we're back to C major. Modulate, and then we're back. So very much like the verse, where we stayed in C major the whole time except for that A flat 7 chord, we're doing the same thing here, but we've got an F sharp minor. And that F sharp minor is, to me, is such a mysterious, magical moment, because I think that if you look at a music theory book, I'm not sure how people could, there's different ways you could explain it, but just people don't do it a lot, you know, and that's part of what makes, I think, Stevie Wonder so, you know, it's just like the thousandth example of what a genius he is, how brilliant and creative he is, because I think he played what he heard there, and I don't really want to try to explain it theoretically beyond that. I think that the creative process, there should be some part of it that's just left to, like, it's the magic. It's what he heard, it's what he chose, and that's fine, let it be. Anyway, over that chord, you could use F sharp minor pentatonic, I think. That's one way to deal with it. I think, let me see if I can get there again. Yeah, I'm even reluctant to tell you exactly what scale to use over that F sharp minor chord, you know, because I feel like, or I kind of feel like I hear a melodic minor on it, but I also hear sort of just pentatonic, maybe blues scale. Maybe that over it, and I don't think it can necessarily be reduced just to a scale. I don't really want to do that because I feel like I'm not doing it justice. So if you want to just take that out on me, you can, and be like, Chris didn't give me a clear answer to that question. That's fine. But I will say that, remember, if you can find a couple notes that really feel good on that chord, you can always lean on those. Like, to me, that's the 3rd and the 7th. That's pretty safe. So you could always land on those. Or you could just pass. You could just take a pass. So what I will do is I'll give you the backing track on this part as well, so you can just try that on your own. I'll just let that pass by. Now, the way I set up my loops, I set up 3 loops, so it has to start on the F walk down every time. So you'll start on that, and then it'll go to that other section. I'll give that to you, and you can practice on it. 2, 3, and... Here it comes. C major, F sharp minor. Then you're back in C major, basically. Again. Here's the modulation. You gotta watch out for that. Then you're back to C major, pretty safe. The whole thing one more time from the F. Ready? And here you go. I don't know. I guess the way I would wrap up this lesson is saying, practicing Tchaikovsky and Beethoven and all that stuff, definitely awesome, awesome. But so is this. I mean, I will be practicing this song the rest of my life, and there's just so much more that I can continue to develop with it, and just like my classical repertoire that I love as well. So hopefully you've been able to get that from this series on Sir Duke. Again, just a reminder: check the links below for other ways to work with me, and of course, I hope to see you in another lesson soon. Till then, happy practicing.